where do these terrorists or rebellions buy their guns? Because these guns that these terrorists they've been using to fight against their own people, these guns they are manufactured somewhere. How hard is it for them to trace where comes these guns? Who sell these guns to these rebellions or terrorists? Who finance them in order for them to have food on the table? How come the government of these countries, they don't know where are these people, where there are these rebellions, they can't even catch them? If you perhaps ask yourself a question to know, how possible is it that until today, the true leader of Boko Haram in Nigeria never been arrested, never even been found somewhere, but yet you are seeing the documentary on BBC which talk about the Boko Haram, and in this documentary you will see a white journalist leaving Europe to come all the way in Africa until to the point where these leaders or these rebellions, or should I say terrorists, they are hiding themselves.
Now, a rare look at life under the rule of the Nigerian militant group Boko Haram as filmed by the group itself.
And they'll do them the interview. And yet, these journalists will come and get their bus, their airplanes, and fly back to their countries without even helping the government, saying that, no, look, I'm from this place. I just spoke to the leader of the Boko Haram. Here is their locations. You can go there and you can find them. How do they get to know where are these terrorists hiding? Yet the government of African people does not know where these people are hiding. Those are the simple facts. Shows that the West, they are the one who are behind all these things. The West, they are the one who've been committing all these things around Africa, so that they'll continue looting Africa as their wishes. Because if you don't have nothing to hide, for an example, I just give a very easy example. When a journalist goes somewhere in Nigeria, make a documentary talking about Boko Haram, of what they have done, and even interview these so-called Boko Haram, but yet these journalists, they are going back to their countries. They are not even cooperating with the government of Nigeria to help them that, no, dude, look, these people that are located in this place, this is their address. They are not even saying that, no, look, we've been in contact with them. No, guys, there is something that these people usually do, and these are the obvious situation that we all can get to see. So they want this situation to remain like that, so that they'll keep on benefiting from African people. That is the naked truth. When Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, they are trying to put their power together in order for them to fight these terrorists, guess what France did? They are coming to threaten them and promise to fight these organizations, all because they are not the one who've been called to come and rescue people of these countries. You guys, you saw the video I played for you. The president of France, Emmanuel Macron, had the courage to come and say this.
We are not involved. We should not give in to coup leaders a narrative which says that France has become our enemy. The problem of Nigerians today is coup leaders who are putting them in danger by giving up the fight against terrorism, by abandoning an economic policy which was good for the country, and who are losing all international funding which was allowing the people to lift out of poverty. Our policy is simple. We do not recognize coup leaders. We support the president who has not resigned, and we are committed to standing by his side.
This is the kind of things that Africans don't want to hear anymore. These are the kind of things that Africans, they hate the most at the moment, because Africans believe that they are the sovereign countries and they are not going to allow anyone to come and tell them how things are supposed to be done in their countries. Seeing Emmanuel Macron having this kind of courage, talking about Niger and criticizing these military leaders who have taken over there, that is kind of like trying to minimize other nations, all because you know that these military leaders, this military government, they're not guaranteeing the protection of your benefits. That's what made them get checked. Anyway guys, please give us your thumbs up if you find anything beneficial so far in this video and you'd like to learn more about what we discuss on this channel. Do us a favor, do subscribe to the channel and give us your thumbs up. We'll really do appreciate. Burkina Faso statement continue to say that France continue to impose their leadership in Africa even after the colonist time. They still think that Africa still have to be under their control, and that is the reason why they've been imposing different African leaders trying to interfere in African elections, putting the president, puppet president, as I like to call them, in these old countries in order for them to continue controlling the Africans more closely with their mineral resource. Whenever an African leader tries to disobey them, they'll make sure that they cut their heads and create another way that will bring instability in that country in order for them to remove this president and replace him with someone else who will be at their service. And that have to stop now. France have the courage to impose on these African countries, especially the French-speaking countries in Africa, in order for them to buy their military gun machines only to France. If you don't buy it to France, then they will have to work together with the US, which will come and start putting sanctions on you so that you end up doing things the way they want it. If they have to continue putting sanctions on countries such as Zimbabwe and more African countries, then they should let these countries deal with other countries that are willing to help them. I believe he was referring to China and Russia, of course. So he asked for the UN to make sure that they should negotiate with this Western power in order for them to liberate Africa for good and leave Africans to be more independent as they deserve as everyone. If they don't do this, then the history will hold accountable to those who are in power who refuse to act in a good way, because Africans, they are tired. Africans are fed up with all these kind of things that have been happening. This so-called international community, the UN, all these world organizations, they have failed all their missions in Africa. They are not doing things good. Actually, wherever they step in, things get worse. Should this international criminal court, the ICC, be brought also to the international court? Because they are there, they can see all the crime that is being committed. They know who commit these crimes, but yet they are not touching them. And here, I believe, is referring to those who always come in Africa or goes around the world and make serious crime, and yet they have to be set free because they are so-called powerful nation in the world. So that is kind of the injustice that this man had to feel that, no, why is it that only this international criminal court have to deal with African leaders and not all these Western leaders who get to involve themselves in the business that does not even belong to them, who get to come and commit serious crimes around the world, and yet they're walking out free. No one is touching them. The UN should stop being at the service of the West, because the West can't continue leading the world in such manners. The world is supposed to be a better place and a free place for everyone to enjoy their liberation, and not this kind of slavery that we are seeing in the open sky, whereby the UN is there and they are not having the courage to put the West on their place by telling them the truth. African people, they are tired of hypocrisy from the UN, that they sitting there and they're not doing nothing whenever Africans need them to stand on their feet and try to defend Africans on something that they have the right on. Africa have all the world mineral resources that the world need today. Africa have diamond, Africa have gold, have almost everything that the world need, and not in small numbers, but we're talking about 30 to 40% of the world reserve. Everything belongs in Africa. But how possible is it that Africans continue to suffer this much up to today, yet their minerals are being exported by the West and they're not doing nothing about it? All they do is to come in Africa, get involved in African politics, influence their leadership among Africans, come to impose to Africans what is not even part of their cultures. They are the ones who are well corrupt, starting with the USA, going down. They make sure that they come in Africa to choose the places where there is peace in order for them to bring instability so that they can be able to loot Africa. When these people come in Africa, they come with one word in their mouth: we are here to bring peace and install democracy. Through that so-called democracy, that is where they are managing to destroy Africa and bring all these bad things that we just mentioned for you. The world should know that Africans are very democrats. Africans, they have good manners which they had generated from their forefathers. And Africans can't be teach democracy by the US or France or British, because Africans, they have good manners among themselves. Burkina Faso make it more clear that Africans, they don't want to be dominated anymore. The whole time have passed. Now it is about a new time which comes with a new generation that is ready to take their future into their hands. Africans are now rejecting the West and France. They want France to be out of Africa. They don't want to have any currency, any foreigner currency which is not made out of Africans' hands. That currency should be rejected with everything. The time which France used to come in Africa, impose their leadership, imposing their presidents, imposing their CEO in the public enterprises, that time it is now over, because we all know that France is the one who had the last word to say when it comes to the sale of African minerals. We all know that France, they are the one who get to decide to who you have to sell your minerals and at what price that you have to sell this mineral. So Africans, they don't want that anymore. Instead, it is France-Africa policies and their leaders, politicians in other words, that the one that Africans, they don't want to stand anymore. Do you know why? It is because of them that Africans, they have to go through all these things that we get to see in Africa continent. Burkina Faso make it more clear, saying that from now on, Africa with Africans does not need the West or France in order for them to have peace and stability. The Africans, they can do everything by themselves, and the West should leave Africa alone. Isn't it that very interesting to hear? Given the current situation in Burkina Faso, the government of Burkina Faso, led by Ibrahim Traoré, had placed a new plan called the Action Plans for Stabilization and Development of Burkina Faso. This plan focuses on 4 main keys that Burkina Faso needs right now: fighting the terrorists and installing the sovereignty of the territories, which, by the way, is being occupied by these terrorists; stabilizing the humanitarians and the installation for a true government that will have to take place, and also promoting the reconciliation of Burkina Faso people. This shows that Burkina Faso, they have decided to take their problems into their own hands. What about you? What are you still waiting for? You as an African. Burkina Faso, they are doing their part. DRC, they did their part by calling the UN troops to withdraw from their countries. What are you still waiting for? This is about time for Africa with Africans to be united and to stand against any Western power countries that will try to bring the instability in Africa continent. We really do appreciate your time that you take to watch this video up to now. But do us a favor before you leave. It is very important you give us your thumbs up. We really do appreciate it. Also encourage us so that we can come back with more videos. But just in case, if you want to catch up our next videos, well, it is very simple. Hit that subscribe button so that whenever we upload a video, whenever we are live, you don't get to miss any of our videos. We really do appreciate that if you do what we are asking of you. For now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao, ciao.